She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
He really has delivered me from so many things. Addictions, self-hate, suicide, depression, hatred of my husband, the hatred of man. He's delivered me from poverty. He's delivered me from a workaholic lifestyle. He has delivered me even from a religious spirit that I was striving so hard to follow this corporate structure and trying to get approved somehow by man, but that would mean I was approved by God. That if God did this with me, then I would know that he loved me. He just broke everything off of me. And especially these somehow religious unspoken things that seem to get printed inside of our head that said I wasn't qualified because of my past. But see, my dream was to tell the truth about God, to tell the truth about money, to tell the truth about our lives, to tell the truth without religion, but just teach it the way that it is versus needing some kind of an interpreter of what it says. It's pretty plain, crystal and clear. I wanted so badly, but I knew that I would never be pure enough. I knew I would never be holy enough. I knew I would never be righteous enough. I just knew that my past would always inhibit me from being able to teach the thing that taught me so much. But when I began to read that book cover to cover, what I found was that what I was hearing at church and what I was seeing in church was not quite lining up with what this was saying. What I saw was a structure in church that didn't exist in the Bible. And one of the most profound structures was in Genesis, when I saw that Noah was a drunk, that Abraham was a rich man. He was a wealthy businessman. He was not a pastor. He did not preach from a pulpit. He did not raise money to build a building. He did not paint a $17 million ceiling to impress everybody on television. He was a wealthy businessman who had a family business, who had sons that then took that business and multiplied that business, and their sons continued that on. So when I continued to read, I found that people like Daniel did not go to seminary and didn't even know that he was a prophet. Same with Ezekiel and Jeremiah. In fact, no one knew that they were prophets. No one knew that Jeremiah was a prophet. In fact, they killed him because they thought he was a heretic. So when I read cover to cover, I found that the Bible was filled with everyday, average, unqualified people, according to man. Everyday, average, unqualified people who were working people, who worked businesses, who had jobs, who had families. Everyday, average people. When it came to Daniel, I found out that this guy was very fit, very healthy, really good looking, and got promoted to being the king's advisor. So he was a political advisor. He was a political advisor, and yet we have governments all over the world that the so-called religious or the so-called believers are not political advisors. And boy, should they be. But instead, they have followed this whole other world that was created called Christendom. They're following this whole other word that, I want to serve God, and I'm a teacher, so that must mean I need to teach at a Christian school where I get to earn half the amount of money with no insurance and have skinny kids, because we can't afford to feed them. If I'm a Christian, then that must mean I must make Christian music. Instead of being like everybody else in the Bible, those things didn't exist. In fact, the word Christian is nowhere in that Bible. Doesn't even exist in there. The word Catholic is not in the Bible. Baptist is not in the Bible. None of those terms are in there. So what we have done as a people with the best success book ever written is we've divided it out. We haven't read it cover to cover. We read it like we read a dictionary, And we are as lost spiritually as we ever could be. The church as a whole has become completely non-influential. She's dying every day. Churches are closing their doors every day. And why? We couldn't be more off track than where we're at right now. So when I read that Bible cover to cover, I found it was everyday average people. And I went, ho, yo, shoot. According to this, I can talk about that. According to this, I am qualified by my Father in heaven who has forgiven me of my past, and I am not chained to my past. According to that, I am qualified by him, and he's the only one I need to be qualified by. I don't need to be qualified by man. I need to be qualified by my Father in heaven, and that's it. So, if that doesn't show you something, doesn't show you, number one, the power of God, the forgiveness of God, and how he can use anybody, even someone who doesn't know how to talk right, even someone who stutters, even with somebody with a colorful, nasty, disgusting, filthy past like me, where God has used these settings right here where we have led thousands and thousands and thousands back to their Father in heaven, where we have led thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people actually to read the Bible cover to cover, to learn it for themselves. Thousands upon thousands of people to actually do what that mandate says to do, which is to take care of the poor. Thousands upon thousands all over the globe that have been ignited, praying for people, seeing people be healed, seeing demons being casted out, seeing people healed of cancer and heart disease, seeing people get up out of wheelchairs, blind eyes see, deaf ears open, right here in these settings. And she's a former hoe. I don't know who your God is, but mine is alive and well. And mine follows through with what he promises and what he says. He promises to deliver us out of problems, but he doesn't promise that you won't have problems. And what we're going to see right now is leadership that's from 4,000 years ago, that's going to tell you exactly tonight how to handle the current conflict you're having in your home, the current conflict you're having at work, the current conflict you're having with finances. You are going to learn right now how to bring peace and harmony to a contentious place. Anybody want to learn how to do that? Then pay very close attention. Turn to the book of Genesis chapter 20. And I hope you don't mind. We're going to go through a lot of content here. There's a lot of very important content tonight. And honestly, I feel it is just so important to read what it says because it's very clear. This is not confusing content. Now, I'm going to be reading from my favorite current version, which is called The Scriptures. And it's by Institute for Scripture Research. The Koblentz family sent me this book as a gift many, many years ago, and it really, truly has been a gift to my soul. It is translated from Hebrew straight to English instead of Hebrew to Greek to English, which is what your Bibles were translated to. Okay? So when you go from Hebrew to Greek to English, there's things that get lost in translation. I have also spent the last 2 years, almost 3, learning Hebrew. I'm currently learning Hebrew right now, so I can read it myself from the original text, that I do not need somebody else's bad interpretation to mislead me in any way. We're going to start at verse 1, chapter 20. You ready? So if you have your book, read along. If you don't and you want to just listen, I want you to really pay attention to what's being said because this is a powerful leadership story. And Abraham set out from there to the land of the south and dwelt between Kadesh and Shur, and stayed in Gerar. And Abraham said concerning Sarah, his wife, she is my sister. And Abimelech, sovereign of Gerar, sent and took Sarah. But Elohim came to Abimelech in a dream by night and said to him, see, you are dead man because of the woman whom you have taken, for she is a man's wife. However, Abimelech had not come near her, and he said, Yahweh would kill you a righteous, Yahweh, would you kill a righteous nation also? Did he not say to me, she is my sister? And she even herself said, he is my brother. In the integrity of my heart and in the innocence of my hands, I have done this. And Elohim said to him, Elohim, by the way, is God in Hebrew, okay? Which is different than the gods, the Greek gods. Do you understand? So it's literally, by the way, our Father in heaven has a name. His name is Yahweh. How many of you have a father here on earth? Does he have a name? Yes. You don't call your father man, do you? Okay, so why would we call God God? He has a name. He has a name. His name is Yahweh. He has a function. He has a title. He has a job. He is the owner of everything. God is his function. He has a name. Okay? Elohim is God for Hebrew, and that is his function, which, by the way, Elo is God, Him is plural. Another teaching, another time. And Elohim said to him in a dream, yes, I know that you did this in the integrity of your heart. First of all, Abimelech is not a Jew at all. He's a Gentile. Wow, God talks to Gentiles. And Elohim said to him, Gentile is any nation that's not Jewish, that's not Hebrew. Okay, him in a dream, yes, I know that you did this in the integrity of your heart, and so I kept you from sinning against me. That's interesting. Another conversation, another time. For this reason, I did not let you touch her. Isn't that interesting? That when you take somebody else's wife into your bed, you're sinning against who? God. When you commit adultery, ladies and gentlemen, you're sinning not only against your own flesh, not only against your spouse, but you're sinning against who? God. That's what it says right here. For this reason, I did not let you touch her, verse 7. And now return the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and let him pray for you, and you live. But if you do not return her, know that you shall certainly die, you and all that is yours. So Abimelech rose up early in the morning and called all his servants and spoke all these words in their hearing. And the men were greatly frightened. And Abimelech called Abraham and said to him, what have you done to us? And what have I sinned against you that you have brought on me and my reign a great sin? You have done matters to me that should not be done. And Abimelech said to Abraham, what did you have in view that you have done this matter? And Abraham said, only because I said to myself, the fear of Elohim is not in this place, and they shall kill me for the sake of my wife. And yet she is truly my sister. She is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother. And she became my wife. And it came to be, now mind you, Sarah is like 80. She's an old bride. And she is so beautiful at 80 that this is the second king who has basically taken her to be his wife. A few years before this, Pharaoh did the same exact thing. And Abraham lied and said, he didn't totally lie. I mean, she is my wife, but he said, she's my sister. And she said, he is my brother. And that was the truth, however, they were also husband and wife. But hello, are you hearing what I'm saying? An 80-year-old broad that is so beautiful, a king wants to be with her. And she lives in the desert in a tent. She's a tent chick. She ain't a city slicker. She's a camper, forever camping. She got filthy feet. She's sun-beaten at 80 years old, and she is so beautiful. Ladies, pray that over yourselves. Dang. So obviously she kept herself well. Obviously, she took care of herself. Obviously. Because how are you 80 and so beautiful that two rich kings, rulers of nations, want you to be their wife when they could have any 14-year-old, any 16-year-old, any 20-year-old they can get their hands on, and they're going after an 80-year-old? I want that kind of beauty. That's what I'm saying. Whatever. I just think it's interesting and it noted here, right? That she was that beautiful. Okay, where was I at? 13? And it came to be when Elohim caused me to wander from my father's house that I said to her, this is your loving commitment that you should do for me in every place, wherever we go, say of me, he is my brother. Then Abimelech took sheep, listen, and cattle, and male and female servants, and gave them to Abraham, and he returned Sarah, his wife, to him. And Abimelech said, see, my land is before you. Dwell wherever it is good in your eyes. And to Sarah, he said, see, I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. See, it is to you a covering of your eyes before all who are with you and before all others, and you are cleared before everyone. And Abraham prayed to Elohim, and Elohim healed Abimelech and his wife and his female servants so that they bore children. For Yahweh had closed up the wombs of the house of Abimelech because of Sarah, Abraham's wife. So check it. This is crazy.
Do you have a closet full of clothes yet say, I have nothing to wear? Are you a mom doing her best but desperately lacking me time? Or maybe your schedule has you dressing practically instead of powerfully. What if I told you there's a system, a blueprint that can save you time, money, and turn every head in the room, as well as impact the world through fashion? Friend, you're in the fashion business whether you like it or not. You're an ambassador representing your faith, your marriage, family, and business. Style is just a skill made easy with 123 Style Me. 10 steps to style success that will expand your leadership, save you hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars. This program will bring you peace of mind, reignite your marriage, make you more productive, respected, and instantly boost your confidence, equipping you to be bold and beautiful. Go to courses.lindapage.com. Again, that is courses.linda, LINDAPAIGE.com, and make a priceless investment in yourself.
Did you know you can take the Dani Johnson Show with you wherever you go? It's never been easier to stay up to date with the latest content from Dani with the DaniJohnson.com app. Watch or listen in the car, at the gym, or on the go. Download it now from the App Store and Google Play and never miss a show again. Your family, business, and bank account will thank you. And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
Check it. So here, Abimelech feels like he's been deceived. And what is his response in being deceived? What does he do? What action does he take? First of all, he obeys quickly and quietly with not too much murmuring. But what does he do? What is his response for feeling like he was trapped or he was deceived by Abraham? What did he do? He gave. He blessed him. Did you hear me? He blessed him. He blessed Abraham with what? 1,000 pieces of silver and sheep and goats and male and female servants. This was a ton of money. He gave Abraham employees. He gave him cash. Do you understand? He gave him currency and he gave him workers. Let me ask you a question. How many of you have ever felt like you've been deceived by somebody? Where is you? Who's been deceived? What was your response? What was your response? Anybody manifest like a principality of darkness? Anybody slander? Yeah? Did you slander? Did you pick a fight? Did you try to rub their nose in their failure? Did you try to prove to them that they deceived you? Come on, tell me, what do you do when someone has deceived you or you feel like they had deceived you? Someone says strike back. She said swear at them, yell at them, cut them off. Cut them off. Tell everybody about them, slander their name. Yelp review. Booyah. I'm writing a review on you, Abraham. Crazy, right? That's our response. But here is a Gentile king who, in the integrity of his heart, takes this old woman to be his wife, even though he's got the pick of the litter everywhere. But he takes this older woman to be his wife. As soon as God speaks to him in a dream, he says, yo, dude, no problem. I'm with you. I'm tracking. Yes, sir. I'll get right on that, right? He goes, he confronts Abraham, and Abraham tells him, listen, I have seen that this is a godless place. Why? Abimelech worshiped idols. Everybody did at that time. Everybody served many, many idols, many, many gods. And here is Abraham, who is serving the one true God, Imeth Echad Elohim, the one true God. A God with no idol, no image, no face, nothing. Nothing. He's a small little tribe. He has a lot of cash in the form of goats and sheep. But he's a little guy. He is not a king. So to protect his wife and to protect his tribe, which, by the way, none of them are of his own seed. They are just the people that came along with him when he left his father's house. So there's two things I want to talk to you about. Number one, there is such a terrible misconception that many of us have fallen into, and therefore we live and lead with a lie. And that is this, that if I follow God, nothing bad or challenging is going to happen to me. And if there is something bad and challenging happening to me, I certainly can't tell my Christian friends because they will think I have A, a demon, or B, I have sinned against God. So I can't tell anybody what the trouble is that my children are going through. I can't tell anybody about the challenge I'm having in my marriage. I can't tell anybody about all the debt that I have. I can't be honest and forthright about my past because if I do, this is called the fear of man. If I do, then they will think I have sinned. Guess what? You have. Several times a day, I'm sure, just like me. But you and I have fallen into this religious trap that says, fake it till you make it to heaven. Don't let anyone see. Don't let anyone know that you're human or normal. Don't be humble. Don't be honest. Don't be forthright. Live a lie, especially if you're in leadership. Certainly don't ever confess your sins before your people. Especially if you're a pastor, especially if you're a prophet, which, by the way, I'm not so sure that Abraham called himself a prophet. I'm pretty sure he didn't have a business card that said prophet. But today, around the earth, we have people with business cards that say prophet. They've created a profession out of it. But Abraham's profession was what? He was a businessman. He provided for himself. He did not take offerings from anybody. He did not live off the offerings of anybody. He gave to God. He took care of the poor. He did not receive from the people who followed him. He helped to provide for the people who were with him. That was one of the big eye-opening things I found in this book. I'm like, whoa, let's keep going. Because now we're going to see another situation. Now, again, how many of you have fallen underneath this misconception that if you follow God, you'll never have any problems and you'll not have any challenges? You'll somehow, come on, where's your hands? That somehow you're going to be protected from all bad circumstances. Where are you? When you have this expectation, you set yourself up for failure. And you really don't understand God or understand His Word. So now go up to chapter 21, which is the next chapter. And now go to verse 22, because right after this happened, now check this out, it's so beautiful. Abraham prays for Abimelech and his wife and his family, and what happens? They get pregnant. The very next line, verse 1 of chapter 21, and Yahweh visited Sarah as he had said, and Yahweh did for Sarah as he had spoken. So she conceived and bore Abraham a son in his old age. So there is a tradition amongst the Hebrews that whatever it is that you need, find someone that has the same need and pray aggressively for them. Abraham still had not had his son. Ishmael had been born. Ishmael and Hagar are now gone. He is now older, okay? And he still has no son. His wife is older. She still has not bore him a son. But what does he do? He prays for Abimelech, the guy who took his wife. He prays for him, for God to open their wombs. He does. And what happens to Sarai? Her womb is opened, okay? So let's sneak down to 22, okay? Pay really close attention. This is so good. Yeah, 22. Okay, you ready? It says this, and it came to be at that time that Abimelech and Pichol, the commander of his army, spoke to Abraham, saying, Elohim is with you in all that you do. This probably doesn't mean anything to you, but it means so much to me. It's my prayer. That when people see me, they see that my Father has done this in my life. That it is known that the blessing of my Father is why I have what I have, from my family to my health, to the love of my family, to the love of friends, to a successful business, and somewhat of an okay reputation, depending on what circles you're in. Verse 23, and now swear to me by Elohim not to be untrue to me, to my offspring, or to my descendants. Do to me according to the loving commitment that I have done to you and to the land in which you have dwelt. And Abraham said, I swear. And Abraham reproved Abimelech because of a well of water which Abimelech's servants had seized. And Abimelech said, I do not know who has done this deed. Neither did you inform me, nor did I hear until today. So Abraham took sheep and cattle and gave them to Abimelech, and the two of them made a covenant. And Abraham set 7 ewe lambs of the flock by themselves. And Abimelech asked Abraham, what are these 7 ewe lambs which you have set by themselves? And he said, take these 7 ewe lambs from my hand to be my witness that I have dug this well. So he called that place Beersheba, because the two of them swore an oath there. Thus they made a covenant at Beersheba, and Abimelech rose with Pichol, the commander of his army, and he returned back to the land of the Philistines. Okay. So here we go. This one's painful for me. I have read that story so many times, and it wasn't until I was in Israel that I got smacked across the face with the story. And here's what I got smacked with. Okay. So here we are again. So Abraham was told, you go ahead and take whatever land that you see fit to take. You can have it. Here's some sheep. Here's some servants. Here's some money. Here's some people. Here's some employees. They're all yours, and I bless you with this. Okay? Years passed. Man, Abraham is blessed. He now has a son by his old wife. His sheep are multiplying. He's got more wealth, more power. The king comes back to him and says, let's make a covenant between you and me, between both of our descendants. Let's make a pact. Let's have a contract that says that we are going to remain allies with each other. We will be friends, that our great-grandchildren are going to be friendly with each other. Abraham says, sure, all right, no problem. Why do you have those sheep? Your people stole my well, the well I dug. Abimelech said, whoa, dude, I didn't know that. Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you say something? We could have fixed this. So here, come on, listen. You're Abraham. You built something, a source of water. Your neighbors stole it and said they built it. Now your neighbors are coming to you saying, hey, I want us to be in business together for generations. I want us to be in business together for generations. Let's make this covenant that long after we're dead, our great-grandchildren are still doing business together. You just had your neighbors steal something from you. Very valuable, the source of all life, a well. Can you live without water in a desert? No. So your neighbor stole it from you, and now the neighbor's coming, the neighbor's boss is coming and saying, let's make a deal. Let's make sure we work together forever. How many of you would be saying, no, I don't think so? Sorry, yo. Mama drowned all the dumb kids. That's why I'm still alive. Fool. I just want to know who in here, your response is not, yeah, sure, let's do that. What is your response? Kiss off? Not happening? See ya, dude? Not today? Heck to the no. Yeah, let me think about it. Let me pray about it. Let me pray about it. Which is a lie, because you know you wouldn't. You just want to say no and you want to be nice. But check it out. This is crazy. His answer is yes. And I would like to give you these 7 sheep.
Are you confident that you're always getting a good deal? Have you been equipped with the negotiation confidence, strategies, tactics, and supporting tools you need to close world-class deals? Finally, JPA is making the exact same specialized negotiation training and secrets used by the world's largest, most successful corporations available to everyone. Proven in more than 60 countries and used by brands like Adidas, Vodafone, Pfizer, Nokia, and others, the JPA negotiation method will set you up to save money and time while significantly increasing your profits. It doesn't matter if you're buying or selling real estate, closing contracts with suppliers, or selling products and services to individuals or organizations. Using their simple step-by-step negotiation preparation checklist, you'll be ready to confidently slug it out toe-to-toe with the toughest professional negotiators. It's time for you to stop leaving money and opportunity on the table. Go to bizneg.com/events to register now. Again, that's bizneg.com/events. Get registered today.
Prior to getting started with DaniJohnson.com and First Steps to Success, we were spending absolutely every dime that we made. We were really struggling financially. Since plugging in to First Steps to Success just 4 months ago, we started a brand new business that is doing very, very well. We've paid off $4,500 in debt, but the most important thing is my relationship with my husband has improved like dramatically. I mean, we have so much more fun together. You know, I don't know about you, maybe your finances, you're doing great, maybe you're debt-free, maybe your relationships with your spouse, with your family are great. But if not, if you have some areas in your life that feel a little out of control or there's things that you need to work on, I highly recommend getting to First Steps to Success as soon as you can.
Prior to being dragged out to First Steps to Success, I was hopeless. I had no point to life. It was a day-to-day existence, working a job I despised for people I didn't respect. Deeper and deeper debt every year. You just couldn't get on top of it. I just had no hopes or dreams, none at all, and there was no point to life. But since coming out, we paid off $280,000 worth of debt, married the woman of my dreams. I came to love my job and the people I work for. I have all kinds of hopes and dreams. I get to watch them happen every day. I don't know what your life is like, you know. There's probably tons of hope. You probably know why you live and you got places you're going, but if you don't, you need to sign up for First Steps to Success. You go to DaniJohnson.com and you click on it and be here, because your life will not be the same if you do.
Prior to First Steps to Success, I was drowning in debt, I was terrified of my bills, and I wanted to travel, but I never had the money. And since coming to First Steps to Success, in the last 14 months, I've paid off over $18,000 in debt. I've gone on 6 vacations, and I'm not terrified of my bills anymore. So if you want to learn some proven strategies to really learn how to connect with people, take your life to the next level, all while having a total blast, you need to get registered for the next First Steps to Success today.
Prior to coming to First Step to Success, we were totally struggling, totally under the weight of $640,000 worth of debt, making $20,000 a month, but living paycheck to paycheck. So when we came here, and I realized that it takes a totally different skill set to keep money, to create wealth, than it is to make money, I have totally turned around our lifestyle. We have paid off $640,000 worth of debt in 2 years. We are debt-free as of June of 2013. I don't know where you're at. You might have all your finances in order. You might have a wonderful life. Your marriage might be all perfect and your kids are behaving. But if not, if one of those things is lacking, you gotta get here. Book your next event. You need to be here. You will not regret it.
What multimillionaire do you know that volunteers their time to help ordinary people like you and me? There's only one. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
So not only does he say yes, but he gives 7 sheep. So he gives a gift and says yes to somebody whose employees stole something very valuable from you. Okay, listen. How in the world could he do that? How in the world? Come on. What? Can you think about this, please? Because this is a level of leadership that all of us have to rise to. It's a level of leadership that all of us have to rise to. You probably go home and tell your friends how you got screwed over and now this guy wants to do business with you. Your friends are like, were you crazy? Mm-hmm. But this is not Abraham or Abimelech. So why could Abraham do this? Come on, tell me. Why? When all of us pretty much agree, what is it that Abraham sees that we don't? Huh? It came full circle? Okay, so he says now Abraham was wrong and now Abraham is forgiving Abimelech. But really, I mean, Abimelech stole his wife. Okay, she says legacy. Say what? He's got a blessing? Right. Because there was a promise that was given to Abraham that I will bless those that bless you and I will curse those that curse you. The same exact blessing for those of you who believe in the God of Israel. You are grafted into the promises of Abraham according to the Bible. It's not us trying to get the Jews to graft into us. It's us being grafted into the seed of Abraham. Not the Christians trying to get Israel to graft into them, who is not even rooted in their roots of the God of Israel, but they're floating in the air trying to get everyone to follow them to some other religion other than what the Bible says. Totally different religion than what the Bible teaches. So, look at this. I will bless those that bless you, and I will curse those that curse you. That's a promise that's on your life. So what does that mean? You don't have to control anybody. Did you hear what I said? You don't have to control or manipulate, pressure anyone. Did he have a reason not to trust God? He just had his son delivered to him through his old wife. So what does Abraham have that we didn't have? Trust. Let's go one step further beyond faith. Trust. Trust. He trusted who his provider was. He trusted who the source of water was. Something else that I believe, that I see in that, he also knew that out of all of his employees, that some of them probably have done some things that were not honorable as well, and that he has no control over everything that his employees do. He has no control over what his family does. So knowing that he cannot control everything that happens within his tribe, certainly Abimelech did not know that his employees had stolen something from someone else. So he also understood as a leader that our people screw up from time to time. And yes, it does make us look bad. And when they screw up, yes, it does make us look bad, then I better make sure and sow what I want to reap, which is mercy to a king, to a leader, to a company owner, hello? To a pastor, whatever the leader is, to the head of the company that you work for, to the head of the company of the vendor that you have a vendor relationship with, to the head of the HOA, that they have employees that don't always keep the values that the owner or the leader has set. So if you want to receive mercy for when your people screw up on your behalf, well then by golly, you better have mercy for another leader whose employees have screwed up on their behalf. Versus being a 7th grader and retaliating and trying to control and slandering. So let's go here. So what should you do when somebody screws you over? According to Abraham and according to Abimelech, what is the example? Bless. Bless, 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 bless. Both of these leaders blessed somebody that hurt them, blessed somebody that stole from them. Both of these leaders. Abimelech blessed Abraham, even though he felt deceived by Abraham. And Abraham blessed Abimelech, even though his people had stolen the source of life from him. So let's go here. Proverbs 13:25 says this: "The righteous eats to the satisfying of his being, but the stomach of the wrong is lacking." There is something that I see when I study Abraham that he has that most people don't have, and that's called contentment. You see, the greedy, the righteous eats to the satisfying of his being, but the stomach of the wrong is lacking. No matter how much food they shove in their mouth, they are still not satisfied. No matter how much money they make, they are still not satisfied. So Abraham was not concerned with more, but he was content and he knew who his provider was. Do you know who your provider is? Or do you like to control finances? And do you try to hedge the bets in your favor? How many of you have never blessed an enemy? What would happen if you did? What would happen if you did? What would happen if you blessed someone that stole from you? What? Be weird. You would be blessed by whom if you bless your enemy? There's no blessing like the blessings of God. There is no blessings like the blessings of our Father in heaven. There is no blessings like his blessing. This is where you get promoted and didn't deserve it. This is where your debt gets canceled and it shouldn't have. This is when you get forgiven of things and he covers things for you that shouldn't have been covered. This is when he has mercy on your health. This is when your family turns around and loves you even though you've been an idiot to them. That's the blessings of God. That when you bless your enemy, you position yourself to be blessed in ways that you cannot bless yourself. This is when God heals your marriage. This is when God moves on the heart of the people that are working with you to actually help propel you to where your heart desires to go. This is where you get favor and mercy and grace from people you do not deserve to get it from. This is when your guilt is lifted from you and you feel the love that your heart truly desires. This is when the blessings of God come in, is when you get delivered from your alcohol addiction, your porn addiction, your drug addictions, when you get delivered from your shopping addiction. When you bless your enemy, the blessings of God come upon you. This is when there are things that get overturned that you cannot change, but only he can change. This is when your son or daughter, because you blessed your enemy, because you forgave, because you blessed, and because you gave, and you gave something that your flesh does not want to give, that you humanly do not want to give, because you do, he then gives you the desires of your heart. This is when the crooked ways get straight. No matter how many times you try to pull out the backhoe to straighten them, they still are crooked. No matter, how many of you have had someone that refuses to forgive you? It's painful, isn't it? It's painful. So this is when you bless your enemy, who you think is your spouse, who you think is your kid, who you think is your boss, who you think is the president or prime minister of your nation. That when you bless your enemy, this is when the curses you have sowed get overturned. This is when your kid who is on drugs or addicted to alcohol, who has screwed up their life, comes home. Comes home and says, forgive me. I've been a fool. Forgive me for not honoring you. When you bless, instead of taking them to court, instead of doing evil for evil, but instead, you say, hey, given the same circumstances, I am pretty sure I have done the same thing that was done to me. That when you become sober-minded and self-aware, you realize you're just as filthy as the person you are judging. You realize you're just as much of a mess as they are in all of your self-righteousness. This is when he sends you customers you do not deserve. This is when he sends you employees you do not deserve. This is when, oh God. This is when he takes a stupid girl who's a failure and puts her in places she should not be. This is when you bless and you forgive and you give honor and you give respect and you give mercy. This is when the stupid girl gets called upon by governments. I've been called upon by governments. I do not have a degree in economics. But to have mayors or governors and senators saying, please tell us how to fix our city. What?
Financing a home can be a nightmare if you don't know exactly what you're doing. Ask me. I know this. That's why the first thing you have to do is find a mortgage company you can trust that has your back through the entire process. Whether you're buying your first home, upgrading your current one, or looking for an investment property, Rick Fujisaki at Wintrust Mortgage wants to win your trust. Rick understands the mortgage industry, and he can take all the stress out of financing a home for you. His easy-to-use worksheets will help you calculate the mortgage you can afford. And he has a unique tool designed to help you find and set aside money for your down payment. And when you work with Rick, who, by the way, I love, a portion goes to caring for the poor through King's Ransom Foundation. So visit loanmortgageguys.com and start building your dream today. Again, contact Rick at loanmortgageguys.com. Have you ever wondered if your investments are making enough money for retirement? What if you could buy an investment rental property for as little as $35,000 that rents for at least $550 a month? After Aaron and Drew Hudson asked themselves this question, Hudson Real Estate Investments was formed, and now 200 transactions have been conducted. Their system helps individuals buy and hold real estate. Their definition of a great buy and hold is a property that pays you a monthly positive cash flow from day one. Hudson Real Estate Investments has a team who find properties available for immediate purchase, vet tenants, and have qualified property management in place. So if you're looking to have freedom and live your life on your own terms, grab your phone and text the word future to 484848. Get started today. Text the word future to 484848. Secure your future now.
This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Proverbs 28, verse 13. This is all really super important. Okay.
Just read the one verse.
Crap, is it on? Did I not turn it on?
It's on.
Perfect. Just one verse. 13.
He who covers his transgressions will not prosper.
Stop! Read that again.
He who covers his transgressions will not prosper.
He who hides his sin, he who hides his failures, he who hides his mistakes, he who tries to pimp himself out as a sinless, perfect, non-mistaking human being will not prosper. So what does that mean? Flip it over. He who confesses his sins, tells of his mistakes and his failures, will prosper. How many of you cannot confess your failures to your spouse? Where are you? Don't lie. Do you know why? Huh? Straight up ego and arrogance. Stubbornness. Straight up ego, straight up stubbornness. You will not prosper. You can't confess your mistakes and your crap to your kids. My kids growing up knowing mama was a hoe. They know my story. They grew up in these events. I did not hide my past. I did not hide my sexual sins as a teenager. I told them, this is where I screwed up, and this is the suffering it has caused in my life. These are the consequences of my bad choices. I will love you if you choose the same path, and you're going to need a whole lot of love if you choose that same path. And I will stand by you no matter what choices you make. Whether you choose to go that path or you choose to stay on a straight and narrow path, my love will never change for you. It will never change for you. My hope is that you will not choose the suffering I have suffered. I did not do what my mom did, which was lie to me. saying she was a virgin on her wedding night. She wasn't. She got pregnant out of wedlock, and she concealed, she covered, she hid her sin. It resulted in what? Me repeating the same thing that she did, and guess what? I was the 5th generation teen pregnancy. 5 generations in a row. My seed broke it, thank God. My daughter Christina got pregnant after she was married. Erica, a virgin on her wedding night. Cabe, a virgin with his wife. Roman, a virgin with his wife. Micah, 19-year-old, beautiful, looks like Jason Momoa, could be a model in a hot flippin' second. Still pure virgin, has never kissed a girl, has never had a girlfriend, saving himself for his wife. Most of you parents have not told your kids the truth about your past, and you're living a lie. You're living a lie. Tell the truth. They will respect you for it. They will trust you for it. They will not think less of you. They will think more of you. So what was that passage again?
He who covers his transgressions will not prosper.
Keep going.
But whoever confesses and forsakes his sins will obtain mercy.
The original Hebrew says, but he who confesses and forsakes them finds compassion. You walk away from your past, your sin, you will find compassion. You will find compassion. Come on, tell me, who here needs compassion from other people in your life? What does compassion do inside of you? Makes you feel awesome. Tell me how it makes you feel awesome. Peaceful, free, accepted, loved. And it inspires you to show compassion to others. So how do you get compassion? Confess your crap. Okay, go ahead and do verse 14.
Blessed, happy, fortunate, and envied is the man who reverently and worshipfully fears the Lord at all times, regardless of circumstances. But he who hardens his heart will fall into calamity.
Well, that's a pile, isn't it? It's amazing, right? Blessed is the man who always fears Elohim, but he who hardens his heart falls into evil.
Wow. Yeah.
So those of us that will not confess our sin to our spouse, those of us heads of companies that will not confess our failures before our teams, those of us who are living a lie, what does this say? We have a hardened heart, and we are headed for what? Evil. We are headed for calamity, headed for evil. So look, Abraham could have defended himself. Instead, he explained clearly, she really is my sister. Yo, I'm sorry, here's a gift. No, dude, I'm going to give you a gift. No, you take this gift. No, you have this gift. They both understood blessing someone who you have felt wronged you.
If this episode was an encouragement to you, go to DaniJohnson.com and share it with your friends now. You never know who else needs to hear it. This has been the Dani Johnson Show. Join us every weekday at 7 a.m. for more insights that will help you get to the life you've always wanted.